There is a man we'll call Daniel, 34 years old. He wakes without an alarm, puts in 90 minutes of training before most people open their eyes, and last quarter, he closed the deal that put his name on the wall. He is exactly the man he set out to become. And on the night the biggest deal of his life finally landed, he sat alone in his car in the parking garage, engine off, phone face down. He waited to feel the thing he had been chasing. Nothing came. Just the tick of the cooling engine and a low hum in his chest. Daniel is not weak, and he is not lazy. He did everything the advice said. He hit every metric on his list, line by line, and still hit a wall that no amount of doing more can climb. Daniel's emotional numbness functions as a compass needle swinging hard. It signals that he has been sprinting for years in a direction he never actually chose for himself, like it or not. That is a rare and beautiful weapon. But a weapon is only as good as the thing you point it at. Most men are never taught to check the target. The culture teaches them to pull harder, just grind harder, add another habit, another cold plunge, another hour stolen from sleep. Nobody stops to ask the one question that decides if it pays off. Disciplined toward what? Daniel's tragedy is a failure of aim, not effort. He built a magnificent cathedral of will, but he dedicated it to a scoreboard. Psychologists Tim Kasser and Richard Ryan spent years looking at what happens inside a person when everything they chase is a finish line. In their research, they split human ambitions into two distinct families. The first are extrinsic goals. These point outward: money, image, status, the applause of strangers. When men and women anchored their lives around these metrics, they reported lower vitality, more distress, and a thinner, colder kind of day. The second are intrinsic goals, like personal growth and real relationships. These point inward and outward at once. The people chasing these reported higher well-being and less quiet suffering, often using the exact same amount of discipline, a radically different interior for the same effort. Disciplined men naturally drift toward the extrinsic list for one highly seductive reason. Numbers are easy to count. A number on a deadlift or a bank balance feels like progress. It feels like control. Researcher Carol Ryff mapped out what it actually means to be psychologically well, and she found it rests on 6 pillars: self-acceptance, positive relations, autonomy, environmental mastery, personal growth, and purpose. Notice what is absent. Not one of them is your income. Not one is a stranger's applause. Daniel optimized his body and his money, but he let the second pillar, positive relations, rot. He let every real friendship thin to a text once a season. In that parking garage, he couldn't think of a single name to call who would truly understand what his victory cost him. The very trait that makes a man formidable, his love of a measurable target, is exactly what walks him off the cliff. The better a man is at hitting numbers, the faster he can run in the wrong direction. Long before clinical psychology, Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrestled with this same trap. He commanded armies, ran the largest empire on earth, and could have anything money bought. Yet in his private notebooks, he repeatedly reminded himself that the power, the conquests, and the praise were not the source of a good life. The Stoics had a specific word for a life that truly works: eudaimonia. It does not mean a pleasant daily buzz that fades by dinner. It means a life where your actions and your deepest character are the exact same shape. Marcus could lose a battle and keep his eudaimonia intact, because his fulfillment was never stored in the battle itself. It was stored entirely in how he met the challenge. Therapists today draw this exact same mechanical distinction between a goal and a value. A goal is a destination. You arrive, you cross it off, and the road terminates at a finish line, leaving you with nothing else to do. A value is a direction. It is heading west. You never reach west and finish. It is a way you keep traveling for the rest of your life. A goal ends. That is precisely why it can only feed you once, briefly, before the hunger comes roaring back. A value feeds you continuously, every single day of the journey. If you realize you have been running the wrong way, you do not have to burn your life down to fix it. You already did the hardest part. The unbreakable willpower you forged over the years is exactly what you need. Daniel still wakes at 5 a.m. He still works hard and closes deals. but the motivation underneath it moved. The aim is no longer to beat everyone in the building. It is to do honest work he wouldn't be ashamed to explain to his father. Same hours, entirely different interior. Chasing an outcome feels like exhausting yourself to pay a debt that never shrinks. Living a value feels like expressing your true character. That act feeds you by its very nature, whether you are seen or entirely unobserved. Look at your own list of ambitions. Separate the destinations from the directions. For the trophies you've been chasing, ask what deeper value they were quietly meant to serve, and start serving that directly. Here is the challenge for this week. Take one difficult habit you already do for an external reward. Strip away the metric and execute it solely to honor the man you are becoming in the dark, where no scoreboard is watching. Lasting fulfillment begins the moment your immense discipline and your deepest values finally point in the exact same direction.